Welcome guys, welcome to my channel Jaya's Learning Corner. So today we are taking up chapter number 1 from class 10th, that is chemical reaction and equation. So before starting the chapter, this chapter has been divided into 3 sessions. This is the video for the first session. This session comprises of chemical reaction, chemical equation and balanced chemical equation. These 3 topics we will be discussing in this session. The next session will be having the next video, that is of types of reactions, and the third session will be of important questions and examples. Okay, so before starting the today's session, let's see the learning objectives of today's sessions. That is, what is a chemical reaction, chemical equation and balanced chemical equation. So the first learning objective is chemical reactions. Many of you may ask, ma'am, what is a chemical reaction? What is its definition? So the definition is the transformation of chemical substances by making and breaking of bonds between different atoms is known as chemical reactions. So what is a chemical reaction? Whenever we are making and breaking, both of them is doing on the same time, then it is called a chemical reactions, and it is being done between the different kinds of atoms. So here we have taken an example. This example says that zinc is being reacting with sulfuric acid to form zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas. So here what is happening, sulfuric acid is being breaking down and it is releasing the sulfate ion, and this sulfate ion is being combined with the zinc to form the zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas is being released. So if you know what is the phenomena of this reaction, the phenomena says H2SO4 is dissociating and giving the first H plus ion and HSO4 minus ion. This HSO4 minus ion is a weak acid and cannot remain as it is. So it further dissociates and comprises H plus ion and SO4 minus ion. So this SO4 minus ion, this is a sulfate ion, and it combines with the zinc and it forms the zinc sulfate, and the two hydrogen ion, H plus ion hydrogen ions that has been released during the reaction, so they forms the hydrogen gas. Similarly, in any chemical reaction, gas is always evolved in the product side. So here H2 is evolving. So this is the phenomena that we are seeing of the earlier example. So if we are talking about a chemical reaction, how do we know that what is a chemical reaction, and how do we know how that a chemical reaction has been taken place or not? There are some signs that you can see and say that reaction has been taken place. The first sign is the change in state. That means the reactant is changing into products, and similarly the state is also being changed. The solid can change into liquid or gas or vice versa. So by seeing it, you can say that chemical reaction has taken place. The second thing is evolution of gas. Whenever a chemical reaction is taking place, any kind of gas is evolved in the product side. So if you are seeing that a evolution of gas is occurring, you can say that chemical reaction has been taken place. The third is change in color. If you are seeing a change in color during a reaction, you can say that chemical reaction has taken place. And the fourth is exothermic reactions or endothermic reactions. That means if the heat is being evolved or absorbed. If the heat is evolved, then it will be an exothermic reaction, and if it is absorbed, then it will be an endothermic reaction. Now many of the times students get confused about the exothermic and endothermic reactions. Many of you may be reading it earlier also and it being very clear to you, but those who are a bit confused, here is the explanation. Exothermic reactions are reactions in which energy is released in the form of heat and light, and endothermic reactions are those in which the energy has been taken up from the surroundings. Okay, so no matter of confusion now. Let's move on. Next is, what is a chemical equation? A chemical equation shows what happened in a chemical reaction. An equation should tell us about 3 things, and those are reactant and products are involved in the reactions, which are the reactants and which are the products that is being involved, the relative amount of reactant and product, how much we are using the reactant and products, and the physical state of reactant and products. That is how we are using it, in the solid form or in the liquid form or in the gaseous form. So these 3 things should be tells us about an equation. Okay, when we are talking about a chemical equation, the main focus should be on writing a chemical equation. So here I have given you an example and I have shown you how to write a chemical equation in steps. So there are 3 steps that you have to follow. The first is, write the symbols of all the substances involved in the reaction and in the product one by one, on the same line. This is very important. So here I have written the reactants and here I have written the products. Okay. The second step is to segregate the reactant and the product by using an arrow. And the third is giving a sign of plus in between the reactant and product. So this is the final chemical equation that you are seeing after following these steps. So these 3 steps has to be followed. You all should practice how to write a chemical equation with different examples. Here I am taking example of magnesium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Okay. The next is the essentials of a chemical equation. Now, what are the essential points? First is it must refer to an actual chemical equation that can be done, that can be properly done during a experiment. Next is it should be molecular, that is hydrogen, nitrogen gas or any other atoms, it should be used in a molecular form. And third one is it should confirm the law of conservation of matter. This law of conservation of matter has been discussed in the earlier videos also. Okay. Next is limitations of a chemical equation. There are very much limitations during a chemical equation and some of them is being written here. The chemical equation does not indicate about the physical state, the concentration, the heat evolved or absorbed, the condition of temperature and pressure catalyst, the rate of reaction whether it is fast or slow, the reversibility of reaction whether it is irreversible or reversible, whether any precipitate is being formed or any gas is being evolved or not, or which gas is being evolved, the extent up to which the reaction has taken place, time taken by the reaction to complete, and mechanism of the reaction. These are the things that is being not given any indication about the chemical equations. Okay. So next comes the topic, the balanced chemical equation. Now what is a balanced chemical equation? Whenever we are talking about a chemical equation, the number of atoms which is involved during the equation in both the sides, that is the reactant and the product, it should be same. Then we can tell that this equation is a balanced chemical equation. Now balancing the chemical equation is very important as per the examination point of view, because if you are writing a chemical equation and you are not balancing it, then the equation will not be correct. Okay. So for examination point of view, just practice more and more for the balanced chemical equation. Here I am writing an example. Most of the time if the equation is simple, we just use the hit and trial method to balance it. Here you can see this equation is being balanced by adding some of the coefficient. So we have to see the example, we have to see the reactant and the product, and then we have to see the number of atoms which are differing and how much reactant atoms and how much product atoms are there, and then we have to just find out the different number of integers to add so that the balance equation we get. Okay. Here the zinc sulfide and oxygen is being combining, and here we have added the coefficient of 2 and coefficient 3 so that this chemical equation will be balanced. Okay. Now there are 2 methods to balance a chemical equation. The first is the hit and trial method that I have told you. Here I have given you a different example. So here what is happening, if you are seeing the reactant side and if you are seeing the product side, on the reactant side the number of nitrogen atom is 2, oxygen is 3 and hydrogen is 4, and on the product side the number of nitrogen atoms is 2, oxygen is 2 and hydrogen is also 2. But if you are seeing oxygen are not balanced and hydrogen is also not balanced, so how we can balance it? If you see that if we are adding a coefficient of 2 to hydrogen to water, then the whole chemical equation will be balanced. So we have done the same here and it has become a balanced chemical equation. Okay. So this is for the simple equation where you have to add only the coefficient. The second method is for complicated equations. So that method is called partial equation method. So what we do in this partial equation method, step 1 is to divide the partial equation into different small equations. That means all the complete complicated equation is being divided into partial equations. Secondly, we balance these partial equation by using the similar hit and trial method, and third, we combine the equations. Now remember one thing, whenever we are combining the equations, you just have to remember the equation should be combined in such a form that the intermediate product should be cancelled out. Okay. So here is an example given. When copper reacts with concentrated nitric acid, the products are the copper nitrate and the nitrogen oxide and water. So this is the reactant and these are the products that has been given, and this is the equation, but this is not a balanced chemical equation. So how we are balancing it? Now the first step, how we are doing it? And the first step, the nitric acid is being decomposed to give the nitrogen dioxide and water and atomic oxygen. So this is the products that we are getting. Now in the second step, the copper is oxidized to copper oxide. So here is the copper is being combining with this atomic oxygen and is forming the copper oxide. And in the third reaction, in the third step, this copper oxide is also been forming when copper oxide so formed then reacts with the nitric acid to form the copper nitrate and water. Okay, so this is being the third step. Now how to balance it? So next step is to multiply all the equations from step 1, 2 and 3 by an integer, so that on adding the equations 1, 2 and 3, intermediate products get cancelled out. So in this reaction, in this case, the integer is 1. So the final equation will be this. So this will be your final equation. So you have to find out the number of integer so that if you are adding that integer to the equation, intermediate product should cancel out and you will get the final product. Okay, so this is how we do the balancing of chemical equations. This is a one example. There are plenty of examples in your books, so you can refer to them. You have to practice them. Only then you can say that you have mastered the topic. Okay, so let's just move on. So there are some related terms. These related terms they are important as per examination point of view. The definition is not going to come, but you should know what these terms means, so that if these terms are coming in your examination paper, you should not get confused. Okay, so you need to know that. So skeletal equation, unbalanced chemical equation in which the phrases are used and number of atoms are not same in product and reactants, like the example given here. So this is called as the skeletal equation, the basic equation that we write. Okay, the next is ionic equations. Similarly, the name suggests the equation in which the ions is taking part, they are called as the ionic equation. An equation in which it shows only the atoms and ions that actually take part, and it is called as the ionic equation. And the third one is the thermochemical equation. Very simple, you have learned it earlier also. The equation in which information about the heat chain is included, and it is called a thermochemical equation. It could be exothermic or endothermic. And how to know that whether the equation is exothermic or endothermic? The simple phenomena, just see the heat change. If it is in negative, then it will be exothermic. If it is in positive, it will be an endothermic reaction. Okay, so that's all guys, done for today. So the first session is being completed. So thank you for seeing the video. Just subscribe and share, and just wait for the next video in the next session, in which we will discuss about the types of reactions. Okay, so stay happy, stay safe. Okay, bye.